Hey guys, let's come back to the matrix multiplication examination problems. Again, we are trying to solve it for the Maharashtra State Board. Paper code is 22103, basic mathematics, first year diploma. Okay, that's what we are trying to do here. Okay, so what I've done is in the previous video, I gave you a whole preview of what are different types of questions that come in the exam and all those things for matrices and determinants in general. And I told you, right, there are roughly the weightage is overall 20 marks, if you see here. And the 20 marks comprises of different maybe 9 sets of problems, more or less. If there is anything, I'll put more, but looks like the problems can be broadly categorized into 9 different sets. And now we're going to take each one of them and apply it. So the next set of videos, based on what I have taught you so far, I've taught you so far matrix addition and subtraction, multiplication. So the first two, the type 1 and type 2, these are the problems we are going to solve in the next few videos. And what I've done is I've just extracted only those problems which kind of fall either in 1 and or 2. I've removed all of them. So this whole video or the next few videos will be focusing on the things that are highlighted in yellow, the type 1 and type 2, and whatever is grayed out, this is for the future videos. Okay, we're not going to cover about that, so that you can always think about, I'll explain a few concepts and I'll take those examination questions so that you know that this is how it's related. And while you solve those things in the exam, you can relate, okay, this one I'm going to use the type 1, this is kind of type 2 problems, and that we can attack. So the moral of the story is we are going to solve type 1 and type 2 first. And like I said in the last video, whichever is a trap where it might consume your time, it's not a better investment of your time, or there is no way you can verify the answer, or the weightage of the marks is just 2 marks, you should avoid those questions completely or put it towards the end of the examination time, where you solve all other problems first, whichever are low-hanging fruits, and then attack this. So let's do a quick cursory glance. What would be the typical problems which kind of fall into type 1 and type 2, which can be categorized in that based on the questions that we see. Okay, so in winter 2019 there were no questions that came that was in type 1 or type 2, so we don't have to worry. In summer 2019 this question has come, if a is equal to this matrix, find a square minus 8a. By the question itself, we know that there is no answer given. We don't know what would be the potential answer, and we know that this is going to be time consuming. This is for 4 marks. The weightage is good for 4 marks, but you're going to do a long lengthy calculation and you would not know whether your calculation is right or not. There is no way to verify that. So in this instance, I will try to avoid this question unless you are pressed for choices and where you have to solve it. But the solution itself is easy, which I'll be showing in the next video about a square and 8a. That itself is easy. But the beauty is this question keeps repeating itself. And in this case, in summer 2019, they have just given this question in this format. But if you scroll down a bit, and if you take winter of 2018, question number 4a for 4 marks, the same question has come. But the question has been rephrased saying that, can you show that if you do this computation, a square minus 8a, the resultant matrix is going to be scalar matrix. So in this case specifically, or in this instance, although the question is same as this over here, if you see this question here, this is same as this, but in this question, what is the output or what is the hint that is already given, that you know that when you do this computation, the matrix has to be a scalar matrix, which we'll talk about what is that all about, which we have discussed. But when we solve this problem, you can see that. That means the answer or the hint or a verifiable fact has been given in the question itself. So I will take this question from this paper as my first preference. Whereas in this case, I will not take that because no one will remember whether it's a scalar matrix or not. Here I have to compute it and the computation can go wrong. Here I have to compute it to prove that it's a scalar matrix. So I know the output has to be scalar matrix. Even if I goof up on the computation, I can always go and see where I need to stand corrected and secure my 4 marks. So this problem, although the problem is same, I will go for it 100% without any issues. Whereas in this case, I will avoid. Okay. Now let's again take here. You have given a matrix. You have to prove a square is equal to I. I is the identity matrix. That means again the question is saying that prove left hand side is equal to right hand side, something of that sort, where I know the answer the question has given. We need to just prove it by doing the computation. Again, a great problem. I'll go for it, right? I'll go for this problem also. So if I were to appear in 2018, going back, just doing these two problems where I can verify the answer can secure 8 marks for me. Those are the low hanging fruit that I'm talking about, right? So those are the things that you need to attack. If you see these two problems here, summer 2018, right? Both the problems, there is no way I can verify. It's easier, you can do it. It's relatively moderately time consuming, but I cannot verify, cannot in bold. So I will try to avoid these problems provided I have better choices to do. If I don't have, I'll not take these problems in the first half of the examination. I'll try to solve the other problems which I'm confident, where my marks are ensured, and then I'll come to this. So both these problems I will try to avoid altogether or defer it to the later part, right? And there was no questions again in winter 27. So that's how you should think about the problems, right? How do I map it to one of the types? What kind of problems you should attack? What kind of problems you should avoid or defer it to a later part during the 2 or 3 or 1 hour of examination based on how the pattern is coming up. Okay. So in the next video, we will take this problem, which is a repetition, and we'll solve it, and then I'll show how to solve it. Solving is easy. Remembering the tips and tricks and the hints are the most difficult thing. So I'm not really worried about the solving, which you can refer to in any textbook, but I'll explain a few videos on that one, and then we'll take it from there on that. Hopefully this methodology where I'm explaining the concepts first, giving the tips and tricks, taking those particular types, breaking it down, the whole syllabus into different types of problems, and relating that to the scoring methodology or addressing the low-hanging fruits. Hopefully this will work in your favor, especially for all the lovely students who kind of study in the last 2 weeks, whom I love because I was a student myself like that. Okay, so let's keep the momentum on. Let's see you in the next video. Thank you guys.